when you think about it, and as we look at what's going on in the marketplace, we see transparency really as a new paradigm. And if I think about it from my own personal perspective, just understanding what I'm bringing home, what I'm feeding my family, the different products that I have, the efficacy around what goes in the supply chain that's engaged with it, everything from sustainability and onward. There's just a lot to it. And there are many newer companies who, if you think about it, there's a lot of innovation going on in the space. There's a lot of smaller, more nimble companies, such as The Honest Company, where they have really taken transparency and built it as a part of their business plan, as part of the way they go to market, as part of the way that they communicate out to their consumers. And other kind of areas to think about relative to that is like craft beers. Everybody talks about where the hops came from and, where the other ingredients are from and even the local nature of it and the natural organic nature of it and even, snacks. If you just think about the snack industry and the proliferation of smaller brands in a lot of different areas, whether it's meat snacks or salty snacks or what have you. So these newer companies are really building this into the way that they go to market. Now, the larger folks who've been around for a while, they're playing a game of catch-up, and everybody's on this spectrum of transparency. But if you think about it, at some point, I believe that transparency and initiatives that are around that are going to be cost of entry for brands. So larger companies like Campbell's, for example, who just bought Pacific Foods, they have shelf-stable stocks and sauces. They're starting to reach into this space. They've obviously got their own brands that they've had in their portfolio for decades, but they're realizing that, to help change their trajectory and help them grow, there's opportunities to, do an acquisition or a bolt-on like that. Now, there's other folks, such as Unilever, when you look at the Hellmann's brand, where they're really embracing it as a brand. So it's been around for a long time, but they're really embracing transparency as just the way that brand thinks about their business, thinks about their products, and thinks about how they might bring it forward to their consumers. So, as we think about that paradigm, there's an opportunity for folks to think differently. So, Patrick, I'd love to get your thoughts and kick in on your perspective in this space.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's a great kickoff, and thanks everybody for joining us on the call today. I think the key thing that you said, Mike, is that this is sort of everyone's problem. You or someone is going into the grocery store and having difficulty figuring out whether the product that they're looking at on the shelf meets their needs, and those needs are diverse. Products are diverse, and so it's creating a hunger for that type of information. Consumers are really mandating this move towards transparency, and there's a lot of opportunity in that. When consumers are mandating that of the products that they buy, they're voting with their dollars. And so that's why these new companies, smaller companies, are being built that way from the ground up. And it's why smaller brands like Pacific are being acquired. That's part of a strategy from larger companies, I think, to quickly accelerate and capture that opportunity that's being created by that consumer mandate. Consumers really want to understand a deeper level of information about the products that they're buying. It's not always just about ingredients. It's not always just about nutrients that are driving that consideration, and it varies from category to category and from product to product. But at the end of the day, I think we all want to better understand our products, and we're all walking around with supercomputers in our pocket, and the supercomputer has created this expectation that I can get any piece of information about any question I have on demand instantaneously, no matter what I'm doing. And when that expectation collides with the information that's available for CPG products, whether it's coming from the brands themselves or from retailers, there's a gap. And the gap is, it has a couple of impacts. It creates a void that's noticeable for consumers when they say, I want to understand this better. They go to look and they can't find it. And then the void creates opportunity, because brands that step into that void and say, well, here, I can tell you this about my product that you're asking. The consumer says, okay, great. And that drives purchase, and that drives loyalty with consumers.